If you're over 60, this message could save your life. Stroke rarely gives a warning. One moment you feel fine. The next, your speech slips, your balance vanishes, or your memory goes blank. As a neurologist who has cared for thousands of seniors, I've seen far too many people lose their independence not because of accidents or bad habits, but because of something they thought was harmless, a simple bedtime snack. Each night, millions of older adults across America reach for cookies, cheese, fruit, or other familiar treats before bed, believing they're winding down in a safe, comforting way. But what if I told you that some of the most common bedtime snacks are quietly raising your stroke risk overnight? You might feel like you're doing something small and harmless, but your brain could be paying the price in silence while you sleep. In this video, I'll reveal 5 everyday snacks that can trigger high blood pressure, blood vessel spasms, dehydration, or even brain bleeds, especially in older adults. I'll also show you what to eat instead to protect your memory, speech, and balance. So stay with me, because what's sitting in your kitchen tonight might be more dangerous than you think. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Cookies. The sweet little dessert with a dark secret. It seems so innocent. A couple of chocolate chip cookies before bed. Maybe it's a habit that started years ago, a comforting ritual after the evening news or while reading in your favorite chair. The warmth of that sugar rush, the soft crunch, the way it makes you feel just a little happier before sleep. But as a neurologist, I need to tell you the truth. That bedtime treat may be quietly sabotaging your brain while you sleep. You see, most cookies, even the so-called healthy ones, are packed with refined sugar and simple carbohydrates. For aging bodies, especially those over 60, this combination is a recipe for disaster. When you eat cookies late at night, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. Your pancreas then scrambles to release insulin, overcompensating as it tries to bring things back to normal. The result? A steep drop in blood sugar around 2 to 4 a.m. during your deepest sleep cycle. But here's where it becomes truly dangerous. That crash in glucose doesn't just affect your energy. It shocks your nervous system. Your brain responds by releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, causing sharp blood pressure swings, irregular heart rhythms, and disturbances in cerebral blood flow. In some seniors, especially those with pre-existing high blood pressure, diabetes, or arterial stiffness, this can lead to a silent nighttime stroke, one you may not even notice until it's too late. I remember a patient vividly, Mr. Robert Dean, 76 years old, a retired firefighter from Michigan. Tough as nails, proud of his independence. Every night he had 2 oatmeal raisin cookies before bed. Better than ice cream, he told me. One morning, his wife found him struggling to speak, the right side of his mouth drooping. A CT scan revealed he'd suffered a lacunar stroke, a small but deep stroke caused by damaged blood vessels in the brain. When we reviewed his nightly routine and his glucose records, it was clear. Repeated sugar crashes combined with nighttime blood pressure spikes had been putting quiet pressure on his brain for years. Mr. Dean recovered, but not fully. He now walks with a limp. He struggles to find words when he's tired. He once told me, eyes filled with quiet regret, "Doc, I thought I was treating myself. I didn't know I was slowly hurting myself." This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. That comforting cookie might cost you more than you ever imagined. Your speech, your balance, even your independence. And the worst part? You won't feel it coming. It happens silently, in the dark, while your guard is down and your body is resting. But what if the next thing in your fridge is even more dangerous than cookies? What if something as simple as a slice of cheese could quietly trigger a deadly spasm in your brain's arteries? Let's talk about that next. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Processed cheese. The creamy comfort that can clamp down your brain's blood flow. Most people wouldn't think twice about a slice of cheese before bed. It's creamy, satisfying, and for many older Americans, it's a nightly ritual, maybe paired with crackers while watching the 10 o'clock news. It feels harmless, even wholesome. But for aging brains, especially those over 65, processed cheese is not a comfort. It's all emise. It's a quiet, powerful threat. You see, what most don't realize is that processed cheeses, the kind wrapped in plastic, sliced for sandwiches, or served in prepackaged snack trays, are loaded with sodium, saturated fat, and an amino compound called tyramine. Tyramine has been shown to cause vasoconstriction, which means it narrows blood vessels, particularly in the brain. That's especially dangerous for older adults who already have stiffening arteries, high blood pressure, or are on medication for cardiovascular issues. When you consume processed cheese at night, you're not just adding salt and fat to your system, you're potentially triggering a neurological chain reaction. The high sodium content can spike blood pressure during your most vulnerable hours while you're asleep. Meanwhile, tyramine and saturated fats tighten blood vessels and restrict blood flow to critical areas of your brain. If a fragile artery gives way, or if a clot forms in a narrowed vessel, the result could be catastrophic, a stroke that hits you silently with no time to react. One of my longtime patients, Mrs. Eleanor Simmons, age 80, experienced this firsthand. A retired school teacher from Michigan, she was meticulous about her health, walked daily, drank plenty of water, and took her medication faithfully. But she also had one small habit. Every night, she would eat a few slices of her favorite sharp cheddar with wheat crackers. It helped her sleep, she said. It reminded her of home. One morning, her son found her confused and disoriented. She couldn't remember the day. Her speech was slurred. We rushed her to the hospital, and scans revealed she had suffered a small but damaging stroke during the night. The shocking part? Her blood pressure had surged just hours before, likely triggered by that late night snack. Her sodium levels were high, and the doctors could see signs of vascular constriction in her brain. That simple act, a slice of cheese, had altered the course of her life. Now, Eleanor uses a walker. Her short-term memory isn't what it was, and her independence, once her proudest trait, has slipped away. All from something she thought was comforting. "If I had known," she whispered to me later, "I would have given up cheese in a heartbeat." The truth is, our bodies change after 60. What once felt safe or normal may now carry a cost we never expected. And with blood vessels more fragile, every bite we take matters more than ever. But it gets worse. There's a snack millions of seniors reach for every night, thinking it supports protein, brain health, or even sleep, when in fact, it may be laced with preservatives that thin the blood, spike inflammation, and silently prime the brain for a hemorrhage. You need to hear about this one next. 3. Deli meats and cold cuts. The bedtime snack that slowly suffocates your brain's blood flow. They're convenient, they're tasty, and they sit in refrigerators all across America. Thin slices of ham, turkey, or salami tucked into a sandwich or rolled up for a late-night snack. For many older adults, especially those living alone or with limited energy to cook, a small cold-cut sandwich feels like a smart, easy choice before bed. But behind that simplicity lies a disturbing medical truth. These processed meats may be silently constricting your brain's blood supply, setting the stage for a stroke in your sleep. What most people don't realize is that deli meats are loaded with nitrates and nitrites, chemical preservatives used to extend shelf life and enhance color. In the aging body, these compounds don't process as efficiently. Instead, they convert into nitrosamines, substances linked to inflammation of blood vessels and oxidative stress inside the brain. And then comes the sodium, often over 1,000 milligrams in a single serving, causing spikes in blood pressure during the most vulnerable hours of your sleep cycle. Add to that the hidden sugars and phosphates used in flavoring and preservation, and you've got a metabolic storm. Blood vessels tightening, pressure rising, and circulation slowing. Your heart works harder, your brain receives less oxygen, and your risk of a nocturnal ischemic stroke climbs, quietly, dangerously. I'll never forget Mr. Robert Hale, age 79, a retired postman from Ohio. He was proud of his independence, and like many men his age, he avoided big dinners. "I just fix a quick sandwich at night, Doc," he told me. One evening, he made his usual ham and mustard sandwich, watched a little TV, and went to bed. He never heard the warning. The next morning, he collapsed while reaching for his coffee. He'd suffered a stroke in his sleep, and it took nearly 40 minutes before his neighbor found him. When we examined his lifestyle, one detail stood out: processed meat 4 or 5 times per week, mostly at night. The nitrates had likely been damaging his endothelial lining for years. Robert now lives with partial paralysis on his left side, and every day is a battle to regain even basic movement. The cost of that sandwich? His independence, his rhythm, his mornings. And if you're thinking, well, I don't eat much meat, you might be reaching for something else that seems harmless, even healthy. It could be raising the pressure inside your brain in a much more direct and frightening way. Let's talk about a snack that can literally build pressure inside your skull while you sleep. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Dark chocolate, the healthy treat that can quietly build pressure in your brain. We've all heard it, a little dark chocolate is good for your heart. It's on the news, in magazines, even recommended by health-conscious friends. For many seniors, it feels like a guilt-free indulgence, just a square or two before bed. But what most people over 65 don't realize is that dark chocolate at night can quietly trigger a dangerous chain reaction in the aging brain, leading to elevated intracranial pressure and even stroke-like symptoms by morning. The problem isn't just the sugar, though that's certainly part of it. Many popular dark chocolates still contain 10 to 20 grams of sugar per serving, enough to cause insulin spikes and nighttime glucose fluctuations that disrupt blood flow to the brain. But more concerning are the stimulants hiding inside each bite: caffeine and theobromine. These compounds stimulate the nervous system, elevate heart rate, and interfere with your body's natural ability to lower blood pressure at night, a protective drop that's essential for brain health. In older adults, this interruption in circadian blood pressure regulation can lead to increased cerebral pressure and, over time, damage to delicate blood vessels inside the skull. For some, it doesn't take much to tip the scale. I remember Mrs. Eleanor McBride, age 76, a former high school art teacher in Colorado. She was active, vibrant, and loved her evening rituals. Each night, she enjoyed a piece of 85% dark chocolate with her tea. "For my heart," she'd say proudly. But after weeks of worsening headaches, blurry vision, and brief episodes of dizziness, her family grew concerned. One morning, she couldn't find the words to finish a sentence. An MRI revealed elevated intracranial pressure and signs of a condition known as pseudotumor cerebri, essentially, the body acting as if there's a brain tumor when there isn't one. The culprit wasn't a disease, it was her nightly snack. The caffeine and stimulants, combined with mild dehydration and age related changes in brain fluid drainage, had quietly built pressure in her skull. Eleanor's case was caught in time, but not without consequence. She now takes medication to manage brain pressure, limits her screen time due to light sensitivity, and can no longer read for long stretches, something she once loved. That's the true cost, not just your health, but your joy, your identity. And if chocolate can do that, something marketed as healthy, imagine what could happen when you mix another so-called super snack into your bedtime routine, one that's sweet, chewy, and shockingly dehydrating. Let's talk about the hidden danger of dried fruits next. 5. Dried fruits, the sweet, chewy snack that dehydrates your brain while you sleep. They look innocent, a handful of raisins, a few dried apricots, or dates before bed. Many older adults reach for dried fruits, thinking they're making a smart, heart-healthy choice. After all, it's fruit, right? Natural, packed with fiber, better than a cookie. But what most seniors don't realize is that dried fruit can quietly disrupt your body's fluid balance, spike your blood sugar, and dehydrate your brain, setting the stage for a stroke while you sleep. Dried fruits are extremely concentrated. When water is removed, sugar is left behind in high doses, often 15 to 30 grams of sugar per small handful. And unlike fresh fruit, these sugars are absorbed rapidly into the bloodstream, especially when eaten alone at night. In aging bodies, where insulin regulation is slower and blood vessels are more sensitive, this can lead to a steep rise and fall in blood sugar during sleep. Those fluctuations not only wake the brain from deep rest, but also increase oxidative stress on tiny vessels that supply the brain's most vital areas. Even more dangerous, dried fruits can pull water away from tissues because of their high sugar and fiber content. For seniors who are already at greater risk of chronic dehydration and often don't drink enough water in the evening to avoid nighttime bathroom trips, this small snack becomes a hidden threat. Dehydration thickens the blood, increases clotting risk, and can trigger a stroke in the early morning hours when the body is at its most vulnerable. I think of Mr. Charles Benson, age 81, a former librarian from Oregon. He was thoughtful, disciplined, and careful with his diet. "I only eat clean," he told me proudly. Every night he'd eat 4 or 5 dried dates before bed, believing they were good for digestion and sleep. But over time, he began experiencing early morning confusion and dizziness. One morning, he fell trying to get out of bed and was rushed to the ER. He had suffered a transient ischemic attack, TIA, a mini stroke. When we reviewed his blood work and hydration markers, the cause was clear. Severe overnight dehydration combined with high blood sugar and mild kidney decline had created the perfect storm. His well-intentioned snack had tipped the balance. Charles recovered, but not without scars. He now walks with assistance, and his short-term memory has never been the same. "I thought I was doing everything right," he told me. "I didn't realize I was quietly drying out my brain." It's a sobering reminder. Even healthy foods, in the wrong form and time, can turn against you, especially at night when your brain needs peace, not pressure. So what can you eat before bed that truly supports your brain, protects your blood vessels, and helps you sleep deeply without risk? Let's talk about the smartest bedtime snacks for seniors. 6. What to eat instead. Bedtime foods that nourish your brain without raising your stroke risk. After everything we've discussed, the cookies, cheese, deli meats, chocolate, dried fruit. You might be wondering, is there anything I can eat at night that won't hurt me? The answer is yes. But it requires shifting how we think about food, not as a treat or routine, but as fuel for your brain while it rests and repairs. Because at night, your brain is still working. It regulates hormones, clears waste, and maintains blood flow. And what you eat before bed can either support that process or sabotage it. Many older adults grew up in a culture that said, eat light at night, but not too light, or you'll wake up dizzy. That logic made sense when our bodies were younger, but now, as the brain ages, it becomes less forgiving. High sugar spikes, salt overload, and dehydration aren't just uncomfortable, they can be life-altering. The goal isn't to stop eating at night, but to choose brain-safe snacks that support blood flow, regulate pressure, and nourish the nervous system without creating chaos while you sleep. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Mrs. Carol Jennings, age 73, a retired school principal from Arizona. When I first met her, she had a drawer full of supplements and a nightly habit of dried fruit and healthy protein bars. Her blood pressure was unstable in the mornings, and she often felt woozy when getting out of bed. After ruling out heart disease, we took a close look at her bedtime routine and completely restructured it. Instead of processed health snacks, we built a new ritual. A boiled egg for protein, half an avocado for healthy fats and potassium, one slice of whole grain toast, a few blueberries for antioxidants, a small glass of room temperature water to stay hydrated without waking her at night. That's it. Real food, balanced, simple. No pills, no powders. Within weeks, her morning dizziness faded. Her blood pressure stabilized. She told me her sleep felt deeper, her mind clearer. I didn't know food could do this much, she said. I thought I needed supplements. Turns out I needed breakfast just a little earlier. The medical truth is this: real foods, in the right combinations, are safer and more powerful than most supplements for protecting an aging brain. Foods like leafy greens, fatty fish, nuts, and berries offer nutrients in forms your body recognizes and absorbs gradually, preventing spikes, swings, or dangerous interactions with your medications. And perhaps more importantly, these choices give you control. They remind you that your health isn't just in a doctor's hands, it's on your plate, in your glass, and in the small habits you repeat each day. But here's the part most people miss. It's not just about knowing what to eat. It's about recognizing how the smallest daily choices can either protect your independence or quietly chip it away. So if you followed this far, stay with me, because in this final message, I want to show you why awareness, not more pills or rules, may be the single most powerful medicine you have left. The final wake-up call. Awareness is the medicine that saves lives. If you've stayed with me this far, it tells me something important about you. You're not just looking for another health tip. You're someone who wants to understand, someone who knows that real power comes not from having more pills on the shelf, but from having the wisdom to ask, is this helping me or silently hurting me? After over 3 decades as a neurologist, I've sat with too many families who said the same heartbreaking words. We didn't know. They didn't know that a bedtime snack could push blood pressure high enough to rupture a blood vessel in the brain. They didn't know that something natural like dried fruit or dark chocolate could contribute to a mini stroke. They didn't know that their daily choices, small, harmless, habitual, were slowly setting the stage for a devastating health event. And that's the tragedy. Not the stroke itself, but the fact that it was preventable. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive. The kidneys don't filter as quickly. The arteries lose their flexibility. The brain, though still sharp, becomes more vulnerable to pressure, inflammation, and blood flow disruptions. This isn't about fear, it's about truth. Because when we treat food like comfort instead of fuel, when we snack out of habit instead of need, we forget that our brain is always listening, always responding. Let me be honest with you. A stroke doesn't just take your strength. It can take your words, your memories, your independence. It can take away the ability to drive, to walk, to enjoy time with your grandchildren, to finish the sentence you just started. And in some cases, it takes away tomorrow, before you ever knew something was wrong. But there is good news, and it's powerful. The most effective medicine you have at this stage of life isn't in a bottle. It's in your awareness. It's in reading labels. It's in asking questions. It's in pausing before you eat and choosing foods that love your brain back. It's in having the courage to say, just because I've always done it this way doesn't mean it's still right for me. The truth is, no one else lives in your body. No one else feels your mornings, your balance, your clarity, or your confusion. So you have to be your own best advocate now, not just for yourself, but for the people who love you. And if this message has opened your eyes, let it open someone else's too. Share it. Talk about it. Because the more we understand, the more we protect. It's not too late to make a different choice tonight, and sometimes that one small change is all it takes to rewrite the story of your tomorrow. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with U1. If not, feel free to comment with U0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.